So, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this morning's 11 a.m. talk on the Positive Vibes community. As you can see, we are not going live at 11 a.m. because, once again, technology has failed myself and Sally. What is it with our talks, Sally?
I don't know.
Anyway, we've recorded it for you, so you're going to get all the information in this video. So please do watch it, and please do send Sally some feedback on all the information she shared, obviously. And thank you so much, Sally, for taking this time in your busy day to share all your knowledge with us all. So as you know, Nally. That's a new one. Sally is an acupuncturist and a women's health coach. And we've been going over lots of information to do with menopause. Now, it doesn't actually have to just be related to menopause. These can all be helpful in different areas of your life as well, although maybe not the one that we're going to talk about today. Because today, on the third of the 3-call series, we're going to be talking about sleep problems, hot flushes, and night sweats. Beautiful. What a lovely visual I've got right now. Anyway, let's go straight into the question. So the first question I've got for you is, why do we need to prioritize sleep at this time?
Okay, so sleep is incredibly important because I think we all know really how rubbish we feel when we don't get enough sleep. And, you know, they say something like people who do shift work actually take years off their life because they're constantly interrupting the circadian rhythm, which is basically your body clock. And when that gets interrupted, you know how you feel when you've got jet lag, for instance. That's an example of when you've interrupted that rhythm and you feel really drowsy and out of it at times of the day, and then you feel okay again.
Isn't it? Jet lag is terrible.
Exactly. And I think that they've also shown that when they do studies on depriving people of sleep, it is used as a form of torture, isn't it, in certain places and times. And they've found that when people have something like more than 1 or 2 hours less a night than they actually need, their reaction times and decision making and things like that are the equivalent to them having had a couple of alcoholic drinks. So that's actually quite scary. And I mean, I've got a friend who works in the police force, and I remember years ago when she was sort of at the start of her career, she said, I've just finished a 16-hour shift or something, but because of the way they work, she had to stay on and finish up her report. And she said, I could hardly see the keyboard, I was so delirious with tiredness. And I just think, well, that's not healthy for anybody, is it? So it is really important to make sure that we get consistent sleep. However, we all know that in menopause, there are a lot of different things that can come into play to disrupt that.
Yes.
So I've got a bunch of tips to help you menopause proof your bedroom.
Yes, that's the next question.
Run through them now. So first of all, you want to keep bedtime consistent in order to keep that body clock, go ticking over at the same sort of time, because your body gets used to a rhythm and a routine. And back in the day, we would have gone to bed at sunset because we didn't have electricity, and we would have risen with the sunrise. So we have really thrown ourselves off in the 21st century with all the things we have that can keep us awake and working through the night. So it is really important to try and get to bed at the same time, and ideally before midnight. And anybody who watched the last calls in the series will remember me saying that apparently, again, if you get less than 6 hours sleep a night, you're likely to eat up to 300 calories more the following day. So it really has a big impact on your weight, and not only just your emotions and your sort of mental functioning, but on your physical well-being as well.
I think, at the moment, because a lot of people are working from home, I'm hopeful that a lot of people will be getting more sleep than they normally get. For example, for me, because my son trains, he's a triathlete and he swims 2 mornings a week. 2 mornings a week, we have to get up at 5. And so that completely disrupts the sleep pattern, like you say, with the circadian rhythm. For people that do work shifts or that do have irregular times they have to get up, is there anything else you can do, or you just have to kind of cope with those days and just get to bed earlier?
I think they probably just have to cope with those days and, try and carry out some of the other lifestyle things that I'm going to talk about to help minimize the impact of the times when they are having to sleep at strange times, or when they wouldn't be normally. So my next tip is that you want to kind of ditch the heavy duvet. And a good idea, because obviously when we have night sweats and hot flushes, I mean, a Chinese medicine explanation for them is that, the yin and yang symbol, the black and the white with the little dot in each. So in Chinese medicine, yin is to do with calming, nighttime, cool, sort of gentle feminine energy that's quite sort of restorative, and yang is like a catalyst. It's hot and expressive, and it's sunshine and heat. And as we get older, our levels of yin naturally decline. So that can be why, and nighttime is when yin's meant to be at its sort of predominant. So throughout the whole day, yang builds up to midday, and then it ebbs away, and yin starts to build, and then we go into night, and the midnight is the time of utmost yin. So if your yin levels are declining because of your age and because of your hormones, then it's going to mean that, relatively speaking, your sort of internal thermostat, if you like, is out of balance, and there's going to be too much yang, and that can be why sometimes people can't settle their mind, can't settle to sleep, and they feel hotter than they would normally. So a good thing to do is either to have layers of blankets and sheets on your bed, so that you can just kind of peel on and off as necessary, because I think some people, we're used to having just a regular duvet, and then either you're boiling and you kick it off and then you get freezing cold, and so that's very disruptive to your sleep. Whereas I think if you can just sort of not go to those extremes, it's better. Something that I invested in, not because of menopause, but because it was hypoallergenic, is sheep's wool bedding.
Oh yes, you told me about that, didn't you?
Yeah, so this is absolutely amazing. And the thing about wool is that it wicks away sweat. So if you're hot, it will just wick the sweat away, because it's a natural fiber. It'll keep you cool, and if you're cold, it warms you up. So it's an amazing sort of natural product. And some years ago, I read an article that said about all these qualities of sheep's wool bedding, and how it's hypoallergenic, so it's very good for people that have any sensitivities and allergies, and also dust mites can't live in it, and bugs and things like that. So that all sounded quite good to me. And then I trotted off to the shop to get some, and the woman on the counter said, "Oh, this has been a game changer for my menopausal symptoms and my hot flushes." And in fact, I don't have hot flushes, haven't had one yet so far. So yeah, but one of my clients recently, she'd been waking up 5 or 6 times a night, and just felt like death because of her hot flushes. And so I told her about this, and she said, "Oh, I have actually got one that we keep in our camper van." So she dug it out, and the next time she came back a week later, she said, "I can't believe it, I'm sleeping through the night." So it really worked that quickly for her, and other people have said it's been brilliant too. So that's my absolute top tip.
Have you got any suggestions on where to buy those? Maybe you can put them in the comments underneath the video when we post it.
Yeah, well, I bought it from a shop in the town that I used to live in, which I don't think is there anymore, but you can probably buy it online. If you just search wool bedding, sheep wool bedding, and you can get everything from like mattress toppers to the pillows and the duvet, and they do different togs and stuff. So I do highly recommend checking that out if you can afford to.
But also, going back to the layers that you have in the to take them off at night. Obviously, if you're sharing the bed with your husband or whoever you're sharing it with, how do you cope with that? Because they're not necessarily going to be the same temperature as you. And
no, it's a good point, and I think that's one of the reasons that the sheep's wool bedding works so well, because it will keep your husband warm, or your partner warm, and yet you can kick it off or it'll keep you cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So I mean, something that I think some couples do is that they actually have separate bedding, so they might have 2 separate single duvets, you know, so that they're not disturbed, because also it's disturbing for the other person, isn't it?
Yeah.
That, I mean, I think, never mind snoring and all that stuff, if one of you's just sort of tossing and turning all night, that's not good for either of you, really. Yeah. So so you could try that, and that leads on to the next point, which is basically stay away from synthetic pajamas and nighties and things, because again, it's not going to let your skin breathe. It's just going to, you know, when you wear things made of nylon and polyester, they're very hot and they don't let the skin breathe like cotton and bamboo do. So make sure that you have things like that.
Sleep naked.
Or sleep naked. That's probably the easiest thing. Yeah. And maybe sometimes it's a good idea to, you know, if you really have a problem and you're having to, you're waking up literally sort of soaking, you just keep a spare pair by your bed, so that it's not a massive faff in the night to have to change into a fresh pair of pajamas. I think most people know that you know, common triggers for hot flushes are things like caffeine, alcohol, smoking, getting too hot, hot and spicy food, all of those things which are stimulants. But actually, we want to really avoid having hot drinks at all in the evening if this is a problem for you, because it raises your internal temperature and it could bring on more hot flushes. So
interesting.
I do think it's a good idea to drink herbal tea and things like that, but if you're going to have, say, a chamomile tea, which is quite soothing and helps you to sleep, just try not to drink it boiling hot, like let it cool off a bit.
Oh, that's a good tip, because I do have herbal tea at night, so
yeah,
cool it down.
I think it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I do notice if I've had alcohol, definitely the hot flushes are 10 times worse.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I think a lot of our capacity to deal with alcohol is quite compromised through these years, and so it might also yeah, it might be a good idea to keep a fan by the bed, even one of those little handheld ones that you can keep in your handbag or something. Just have a spare one on your bedside table, so that if you do wake up feeling like you're burning up, you can just quickly cool yourself down with that. This is one tip that people don't like, and I think mostly ignore, and I probably ignore too, but basically, if you can ban screen time in the bedroom, and definitely before bed for an hour or two, then that will massively help. And the reason is because all electronic equipment emits these blue rays, and they block the production or slow down the production of melatonin, which is the hormone that's in charge of your sleep-wake cycle. So that's why melatonin is one of the things that's recommended if you've got jet lag or your body clock's all out of sync. And a way of getting around it is to get yourself some of these anti-bluray glasses.
I'd love to get some of those. They're on my list.
Yeah, and I can't. Did I mention these in a previous?
No, I don't think so.
Thing? So these, I've got these a couple of years ago, and they're about 30 quid. But I think they've become a lot more popular now. And one of my clients bought, I think she got 3 pairs for 15 quid the other day. And the great thing is that they actually do them with some prescription lenses. So if you already wear reading glasses or whatever, you can just go online. They've got different styles. And what those do is block the blue rays that are coming out of the telly and the tablets and the phones. So it's a great idea to get used to wearing those in the evening. And even if you don't need glasses, you can get ones that have no prescription. And some of my clients have really said that they've noticed a difference, and particularly one girl I've been working with who's got chronic fatigue, she's found that's really helped. So they're a good thing to have. And then I think although, you know, you were saying at the beginning, maybe people are getting more sleep at the moment because of our situation and we're at home. That might be true, but at the same time, I think people have got so many worries on their mind.
Yeah,
That,
it's restful sleep.
yeah, and maybe people are struggling to drop off, and
Or waking up in the night, I think that's another one, isn't it? You wake up feeling anxious.
yeah, exactly, and maybe got a racing mind and just churning over and over all the worries that are going on. So it's
That's why I've stopped watching the news at night, because I find that's the worst thing to do, is to watch that. I don't normally do it, but I have recently. And you
yeah,
definitely, if you can, just don't do it.
yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Because I actually find that, I mean, I like to sort of check in and just get an update, but I sometimes flick the news on while I'm having my lunch or something, and then I feel my mood go to, you know, I might have felt quite like, oh, I could take a lunch break and get on, and then I just like, oh. And so I agree with you. I think it's a good idea to just very much minimize the news, and just it does fuel the anxiety. And keep a pad and paper by your pad and pen by your bed, so that if I don't know if you're like me, but I often get into bed and think, oh, I've got to do that tomorrow or something, and I've forgotten. So it's quite handy just to have something there so that you can drop off knowing that
Get it out of your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Excellent. Right, let's come on to the acupoints, because this is my favourite part. I've been loving it so far. So you've got two again.
Yeah.
So Shen Men and Nei Guan. Did I say those right? I said that earlier, and I didn't know if it was actually the right pronunciation.
Yeah, you did say them right. And well, we could do them. I was actually going to do Shanman and a different one that's on the top of the head. So I suppose one of the things to say is that the beauty of Chinese medicine is that because it's completely holistic, but it's also totally tailored to the individual. So, you know, what's causing one person's difficulty sleeping will be different for somebody else, and we might use different acupoints. So I've tried to pick points that are great for everybody in general terms. So the first one I'm going to show you today is called Bai Hui, and it's right on the top of the head. So if you took a line from the top of your ears and where your fingers meet, just press that point.
In the middle of your...
Yeah, it's basically sort of right on your crown, the very top. And mine feels a bit tender today. And
do you just do the circular motions again?
Yeah, obviously this one's a bit weird if you're doing it on the bus, or
yeah, people are going to wonder what you're doing.
Maybe save it for when you're in bed or something. So again, you know, I was talking about yin and yang. So yang rises up. So this is a point that helps all the clear yang rise to the head, and it's called the place of 100 meetings, and it's a polarizing point. So it's where then the energy goes back down. So it's very grounding because it takes the energy back down to the ground. And this is really good for insomnia. It's great for people who kind of feel a bit at war with themselves, maybe like they've lost their purpose, or just want to kind of figure out what their path is in life, and maybe feeling a bit depressed. So this point sort of clears the senses of the head, and like I said, it takes the energy back down into the body. And
what about if you're not quite on the point and you're rubbing it? It's not.
Well, I mean, the points then they're not. I know, obviously, a needle is absolutely tiny, but the point is not that tiny. So if you've got your head in the big area that's on the top, then you'll be massaging it.
Oh, I like that. It's good.
Yeah, so that's good for that kind of restlessness, and when your head's very busy and you can't stop thinking and going round and round, that will just help to kind of calm and bring it all down again. That point shouldn't really be used for people that have high blood pressure. And if you do have high blood pressure, or if you've got a history of kind of mania, then I would recommend instead doing this one, which is like your third eye, right in between the eyes, and you dust down a bit on you. Or that's it, in there. And this point is called Yin Palace. So it's a place where all that lovely calming yin energy gathers, and that's very good for headaches as well.
Oh, that's good. I get a lot of headaches.
Yeah. Are you? Yeah.
Oh, I'll do that then.
Yeah, so you can do that one. And then the Shun Mun point is, again, it's on the wrist. It's another point on the heart channel, and it's right here where the wrist crease meets. This is part of the Buddha triangle combination that I taught in a different video. But so it's not on the outside of the wrist, but it's, if you feel the bone there, and then just come in onto the sort of the front of the wrist, but it's on the side, just up a little bit towards the wrist crease. So if you feel a little sort of dip in there when you feel a dip when you bend your hand forward. So if you remember the one that I taught before that was on the palm, that's good for anxiety, sort of all the heart points are good for calming the mind, because the heart is connected to the emotions. This is good for anybody that's got very volatile emotions, or their energy is a bit erratic, and it just helps to kind of steady the spirit, and it's good for your memory and your mental capacity, and just for sadness and worry. So those are all things that we're all feeling.
Yeah, I need all of the acupoints. That's what I'm doing all day, is doing all these different points.
So you're remembering to do them?
Yes. Yeah, I really love them, actually. It's been really good learning those, because I didn't know you could do them without obviously having the needles and everything. So it's good to know that you can do something.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's on the sleep front again that another thing you can practice is box breathing. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's basically where you try and just sort of slow your breathing down, and you breathe in for 4, you hold it for 4, out for 4, and hold it for 4, and then you just repeat, and that will basically bring your nervous system into the rest and digest phase. So when we do shallow breathing and we're feeling a bit panicky and anxious, and sometimes you might have woken up with a start, or because you're having hot flushes or whatever, that's a great way to just kind of
box breathing,
bring your mind back. And my final tip is that if I can't sleep, I count backwards from 100, and I can usually do it once, and then I start again, and I get to about 83, and then I'm gone. So
you're just bored by that point, so you go,
yeah, exactly.
Can't do another 100.
So I hope those tips have been helpful. I mean,
really good. I've really enjoyed this one. Well, I've enjoyed all 3. So if you are watching this one and you want to check out Sally's other calls, we did one on stress, we did one on the gut health. If you just type in menopause in the search in the group, you'll find them all. So please do go back and watch them and send Sally your feedback. And don't forget that Sally does have her own group, so do go check them out as well. There's the menopause group that you run, which is fantastic, and you've also got an acupuncture page as well. So if you just follow Sally, then she's got loads of great tips and advice for you all. So thank you so much. We've come to the end of our 3 call series. What a shame. We'll have to think of some more to do in the future.
Well, there's plenty of info to share. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. You can't fit it all into one live, can you? So
no.
But yes, thank you so much. I'm so sorry about the technology failing us again, but I do hope that you all got something from this great video that we're sharing today. So thank you so much, Sally. Have a great day.
You too.
And everyone have a great day as well in the Positive Vibes community.
Bye. Bye.